Arizona Coyotes unable to carry the momentum from a win on Monday. Or on Tuesday rather. See, I'm tired here, but they took a loss to the Calgary Flames, 4-2 the final score. We're going to talk about all the storylines that happened in this game. Lots to get to on this episode of Lockdown Coyotes.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. I'm Robyn Leonio. That's Carl Pavlik. On this post-game episode that we are doing as the Arizona Coyotes fall to the Calgary Flames 4-2 the final score. What a game it was. Carl, Coyotes, they had a bit of momentum. They had a pretty big win the other night when they beat Colorado, and we asked this in the pregame show, can they carry that momentum? Seems like the answer was not really.
No, not at all. I did think this was a fairly decent all-around game from the Coyotes. Like of the grading on the Coyote scale, probably a C plus. Definitely could have turned into a win in other situations, but definitely not enough to walk away with a win tonight.
And let's go straight into the one of the good reasons of why this game was much ended up being closer, so to speak. And that's the rookie goaltender in Karel Vejmelka. We talked about him. I think you mentioned to Jess when we were talking about Karel Vejmelka, and he's like, "Oh yeah, he's got 3 games of 45 saves plus. Make that 4 games now, 45 saves plus, because he had 46 saves in the game against Calgary, and 50 shots on net. Like that's a lot. That's oh my god."
Yeah, I mean, he had 45 even strength shots on goal, which is just insane. The Calgary Flames were firing everything. I don't think that they were a lot of quality chances, but a lot of the Calgary goals were also deflections, so it was clearly working for them. I do sometimes wish the Coyotes were more like that. They were just constantly like throwing things on net, but it was good to see Vejmelka at least keep the team competitive for as long as it was.
Yeah, because what was I think it was double, right? I want to say it was because the Coyotes probably put on 25 shots and Flames put on
It was 50 to 28.
50 to 28. So
For most of the game, it was doubled. The Coyotes got quite a few shots with the man advantage and the empty net, like in the final couple minutes of the game.
yeah, it's. I mean, again, and that's why I'm giving a lot of the credit to Karel Vejmelka because even though a lot of as you mentioned, the quality of chances from Calgary weren't fantastic, and I'm going to show the heat map later in the show, but they're all over the place, right? And but I think still like if we had like a lot of goaltenders usually are not going to freaking make 45 saves in a game.
Yeah, I mean the Flames were definitely throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks, but they were also like, you still got to make those saves. Like it's easy for us to be like, oh, those were, low quality chances. Those were easy saves. Any goaltender could do it. And we're mostly right, but you still got to do it, which I think is just a completely different animal. Like there are plenty of times where, one simple mistake could have like caused a catastrophe to happen. And I think both teams got really close, like quite a few times, and got solid goaltending from both sides. Vejmelka definitely did a lot, but Markstrom, I thought, also had a really good game.
Well, yeah, because the Coyotes were pretty good in their like high danger. They're pretty close between the Flames and the Coyotes. And Flames and Coyotes on this one. It's 17-20, so that's really close, right?
Yeah.
Scoring chances 29-49, but like
Yeah, I mean, like before the Flames got their fourth goal in the third period, like Clayton Keller was almost really close to tying that game up.
you're right,
Like
yeah.
it very easily could have gone into overtime. It didn't, and I mean, I think it's a good strategy that the Flames deployed to just fire everything and get a few deflections in there. Like I'd be fine if the Coyotes decided to adopt that and just get more shots on goal and not worry so much about like passing, but they don't necessarily have that same skill level, so it's gonna be difficult for them.
I mean, we've talked about that all season long, right? But they just the skill level of the Coyotes just don't match up with most teams,
Yeah,
so it's just hard to make that comparison.
yeah. I mean, especially a team like the Calgary Flames, who I think have always just had like, pretty like high end skilled guys. Like I don't know, watching like Johnny Gaudreau, he only had an assist, but still, like, it's a player you can't really leave on the ice. Like, I mean, I was just surprised by like Blake Coleman, uh, 2 goals and an assist. Like, I was not expecting him to have as big a game as he did.
Yeah, that's also true. I'm just looking at some of the other stats here, and kind of going back to shots and first period was a story to tell, right? Because I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure because you were there, you were at the game, you got a chance to see some of that, but the shots were 26-8.
yeah. I think it was really like after that first um, penalty that the Coyotes had to kill. Like pretty soon after, I think I tweeted like by 5 minutes in, the Coyotes were being outshot 12-1. Like the Flames started hot, and I think that was something that was brought up in this in the
In the
preview
pregame.
episode we had. Yeah. Like the Flames like can be a team that can like start like and dictate the pace of the game. And all credit to them. Like if that's been their strategy this year, it worked. Like they controlled that first period.
And a lot of credit to our wonderful friend, Lockdown Flame, so it's Jess Master for pointing that out to us, and then the fact that we were able to see that firsthand. It's like, oh yeah, she's right.
Yeah, yeah. I was disappointed. The Coyotes did not have a second period collapse, so my prediction was wrong.
Heck, I think we all picked the under, right? So that
The
didn't happen.
Flames just had to go and ruin things.
I know, 1 point off, 1 point off from going the under. Like, come
Yeah,
on.
darn you, Blake Coleman. That was a really disheartening goal to give up because just like
Especially because again, right after, as you're saying, right after, like that's you know, right after Keller almost tied it, and then it's just like, what kind of game would we seen had Keller tied it and that didn't? Like, it's just like,
yeah, and like it's like it was like felt like they were gonna pull the goaltender soon-ish, and like it wasn't even an empty netter. It was just a goal right before the what felt like the natural time to pull a goaltender, and you're like, is there even a point now? And I don't think they did, or did they briefly pull the goal? No, they
they,
did because
they
it was
did. They went 6-on-4 on the power play.
yeah, I remember talking to my sister about how I hate that scenario because you can ice the puck, so you're just like free to like shoot at the empty net.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's some of these tactics are interesting, but
Yeah. Like end game stuff where it's just like when you pull your goalie, it's like, what moves do you make? And I think that's credit to the Coyotes. They kept going until the very end, and they're keeping the push, which I like. Like we saw it, force overtime yesterday. Who knows what it can do? I and just a good habit to have.
Exactly. Who knows what could have happened? Anyways, we still got more to get to on this episode of Locked On Coyotes. We're breaking down the loss 4-2, the final score to the Calgary Flames at home. Before we get to much more of this episode, let's go to a quick word from Carl.
So I have a quick message from our friends at BetOnline, and that's BetOnline has you covered this season with more props, odds, and lines than ever before as football season continues its march through the playoffs, right down to the big game in a couple weeks. BetOnline.net remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. And it's not just football. BetOnline has up to the minute info on pro and college hoops, NHL, boxing, UFC, all along with live, real time updates on current games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the new amazing offers available for the 2022 season. Bet online, where the game starts.
So let's continue here on Locked On Coyotes. Before we get much, I want to thank everyone for making Locked On Coyotes your first listen every day. We really appreciate it. We're going to have more stuff coming up this week. We're going to talk about the All-Star break, other stuff like going on that way. But we also have the second listen of the day coming up. After you finish listening to this, we highly encourage you guys to check out Locked On Now. We have all of our Locked On experts recap every game from the NHL Monday through Friday, all less than 30 minutes. It's free and available wherever you get your podcasts. But let's go back to this game, Carl. As we mentioned, 4-2 the final score. I'm going to bring up the heat map to show, because I said I was going to bring it up, to show everybody how scattered around this team was, and so you can get an idea too. Here we go.
That's yeah, that is definitely I mean, it's a lot of dark blue for the Flames by the goal, which I don't like.
But
But
it's
there's
only
definitely a wide dispersal.
only one goal there. The others are kind of spread out a little bit outside the dark blue. One is where a lot of shots by the point.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if you saw, but who was it? One of the Flames players tried to do a Michigan goal. And I'm just glad that did not happen. I think it was
Speaking,
Goudreau. It may have been Monahan, but I'm pretty sure it was Goudreau.
what's funny is there is a lot of conversation of what people were calling the Michigan goal. There are people naming it after. If you looked at the chat at our group chat, Carl, on the NHL host, there's a couple other names out there, mainly
Yeah.
after some of the players. I think someone said the Zegras, another person said the Fetch, and I'm just like, no, no, it's the Michigan.
I prefer lacrosse goal, just because I feel like that's the best description of it.
That's also true. That's also true.
Yeah, when I first saw like the Michigan, I'm like, is that really the name we've settled on, or are we pushing that? Like when the Coyotes tried to do Milkman.
No, I think Michigan is a lot more. He's got more traction. Milkman got no traction for Veggie because it just did not sound good.
No, it's a horrible sounding thing, but still, I don't know. It feels like Michigan feels a little forced. I think there's better options. I don't want to name it after a player though. I think it
No,
should be named after the type of goal it is.
lacrosse.
Lacrosse style.
Yeah, but then that's a little too basic, right? Because like it's just like, oh, you're just naming after like you want to be a little creative, right? You want some creative flair to it.
All right, as the Visa commercial when I first started getting into hockey taught me, a hat trick is named after a guy in Canada being promised a free hat from a haberdashery if he scored a goal, and he scored three. And so the next night they threw hats on there. Names in hockey's make no sense, so I just want something that makes sense.
Fine. Well, we'll figure it out. We will figure it out. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking at all of that again. Everything spread out. But let's give some credit to the two goal scorers for Arizona. You had Clayton Keller and Alex Galchenyuk. Galchenyuk getting his second game in a row. We got at least a goal. So
Yeah.
good for him. Good. We're seeing some production from him. We're hoping we'd see some good stuff from him, right?
I mean, also the fact that he is on a line with Clayton Keller now and Nick Schmaltz, like he is not on the fourth line. That's definitely an improvement for Galchenyuk.
Right.
Uh, Quality line mates is getting results. Who'd have thought?
Yeah, but then that also leaves the other three lines. When is there any production?
True, very true. Um, I also want to mention something really cool about Clayton Keller's. It was his 17th goal through 45 games, which, according to the Coyotes PR, is the most by a Coyote since Radim Verpata in the 2011-2012 season when he had 22 through 45, which is
Mhm.
good company to be in.
Yeah, that's good company to be in. Um, Other fans might be laughing at us, just like, "What? That small per in 45?" And it's just like, "Come on, give us at least give us this. Give us this, guys.
Yeah,
Just give
I
us
mean,
this."
honestly, like Keller is also more of a playmaker going into
Hmm.
the season. Like the fact that he is at 17 goals is very impressive. I was not expecting this version of Clayton Keller this year at all, and he is just surprising in all of the ways. We always talk about silver linings on this podcast. Clayton Keller's play in general has just been one of them.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why he's become a cornerstone piece of this rebuilding Coyotes team.
Yeah.
That is going to be fun to watch in the years to come.
Yeah. Also, one of the great reasons why we don't have to hear people complain about his contract anymore.
He's
Because
probably still a little overpaid right now,
I,
but still no need to complain though. No need to.
yeah,
There's like we're not going to be like, oh, he's getting way overpaid because you can't. I'm like, no, we don't have to say that. He's like, okay, yeah, he's probably making a little more than probably what you think he is worth, but he's bringing up his value and he's trying to make it well worth.
yeah. And especially like I do always like to think like players like Keller who are still very young, like he is only going to get better. So if this is like the early years of a contract and we've gone from one year being like, oh, he's going to be way overpaid to maybe a little bit, but close to market value, like 3 years from now, I can only imagine what we're going to be saying about that deal. Do you think that we could eventually say the Clayton Keller contract is a steal?
A few years from now, I think we will be able to.
Yeah,
Because he's going into a leadership position, and can eventually, this again, he's a cornerstone piece for the rebuild. So you have a lot of people that are going to be building around him, and it's going to show. And it shows that he's able to take the leadership position. We talked about that in our like halfway point. Someone like him versus someone like Chikrin. We were hoping Chikrin could potentially be that guy, but it showed that he's maybe not quite ready for the leadership role.
yeah.
Um, and that's
And I
why.
will say there is a difference between being a top pairing defenseman and a top forward. There's definitely like responsibilities. I don't want to necessarily knock Chikrin and say he's not taking a leadership role. But Keller is definitely just standing up and doing something else. Like it's a complete evolution of his game. So much so that I do think that now they're going to be asking like who do we get to complement Clayton Keller? Who do you think is going to help you take the next step of the game? Because we know these like players like they train together in the off season, they play together. Like I'm sure he has players in mind that the Coyotes could think about targeting. And it's cool to have a player that you can kind of build off of like that.
Plus, remember how many draft picks the Coyotes have.
Yeah, plus when the Flames scored the third goal, I was like, "Oh, nice! There's a Dylan Gunther highlight. I could watch that." And that was fun. Dylan Gunther highlights like at Gila River Arena. Just be like, yeah, this helps numb the pain of this lead that we've given up.
Then all you gotta do is think about Shane Wright. Just think about him anytime.
See, I like to focus on who's actually signed with the team. Like,
Yeah, but speak it into existence, right?
I'm too much of a pessimist. Uh, I
If
leave
we're
that
not
to you.
if we're not able to speak the Bear Pair into existence, we need to speak Shane Wright into existence.
I like it just like adding those two things together in a sentence. So you're just making that be a comparison in the future.
I'm just trying to speak as much stuff into existence as possible because I want to make this Coyotes team fun to talk about in the years to come.
No, you're just setting up hubris for next year's recap episodes. When we run out of stuff to talk about in the off season, and we're just like, all right, game 45. What were you saying? Oh no. Is it 45 or is it 44?
I think this was
45.
40. Yeah,
Yeah, I mentioned it earlier. So yeah, 45.
there you go. I mean, it's that's again still at this point, Coyotes still committed to the tank.
Yeah.
Still committed to the tank, making sure they get a high level draft pick. Because they know the other two are going to be late first round. The other two first rounders they have.
I mean, unless Carolina decides to just like completely go off the rails, I'm rooting for them to just blow everything up somehow, but that's not going to happen.
No, probably not. Colorado is also going to be super late, so it's going to be. But it's okay because the Coyotes' own is going to be an early one. They're going to be a lottery pick, and then they have got 5 picks in the second round, which, as we found, could be pretty good picks.
Yeah. I mean the 3 picks in the second round last draft, at least 2 of them are turning out pretty good.
So you had Doan, Mosier, and Fedotov, right? So they were.
I believe so, but I do not remember offhand.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, it was those 3. But yeah. Anyways, though, we are slowly running out of time on this podcast. So we still need to get to wrap things up before we get to our last bit of this podcast episode of Locked On Coyotes. I want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing number of makes and models, it is now impossible for your local chain and auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. So why endure offer pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning? Is your Odyssey an LX or an EX? And wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing only the brand their warehouse happens to carry. You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. Save time and money when using Rock Auto. Why choose to spend 30, 50, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership when you can go to Rock Auto, a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years because their prices are reliably low. From brake parks, tail lamps, motor oil, and even new carpet, you will be able to check out all the parts that Rock Auto has for your car. So go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. And while you're there, write Locked On in the How'd You Hear About Us box so they know that we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. Let's finish things off now on Locked On Coyotes. Once again, the Arizona Coyotes take a 4-2 loss to the Calgary Flames. Now their week is over, Carl. The only person who has something to look forward to this week is Clayton Keller because he's got the All-Star game coming up. Obviously, we're going to talk about go to the All-Star game. We're going to talk about All-Star stuff tomorrow, but let's now focus on the rest of the team. Then they have a week off essentially. They don't play until Tuesday when they go to face the Canucks in Vancouver. Uh, what do the Coyotes got to focus on in this week, based off the game you saw today?
I mean, special teams, power play definitely needs to be a main focus. But I also feel like, I mean, we're halfway through the season. Is there really much more the Coyotes can do? So I think part of it just needs to be like a rest. Like this
Yeah.
has got to be a tough season for the guys. Like just take a break, chill, like have a couple days off, like enjoy. You know,
Enjoy some Olympic hockey. Go ahead and watch some of that because the Olympics are starting as well.
yeah.
And I think women's hockey, I think preliminaries started today or whatever it was. Um, so some good things to watch for that. I mean, like maybe that's a way for them to take a break. And I think I agree with you. Take a break
Yeah.
because you know how long this season is, and especially for the Coyotes, yeah, they're going through a lot.
Yeah.
And especially because they got back to backs so much. It's just like just let's let them take a break, and that's what they deserve right now.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy for them for the rest of the season. So just, relax. I'm sure a lot of the guys, like, most of the team is not going to be here next year. Enjoy Arizona. Like, go out in the cold. It's cold right now, so go experience that. I'm sure, like, the players can find some kind of just, fun way to blow off steam, and then, like, go to a couple practices over the weekend and on Monday, and like work on some special teams drills. And uh,
I love how you mentioned the cold because here in Tucson or here in Arizona, it's supposed to be what 27 degrees is our low in Tucson at least. I'm not sure what it is in Phoenix. I'm sure if you're listening from outside of Arizona and you're like, let's say from the frost belt or whatever you want to call it, rest belt, you're probably laughing at us. 27 degrees? Come on.
uh, I will say, in my defense, I wore this to the game, like this exact thing, and this is not a warm jacket. So it was 50. I grew up in Western New York. I still would not wear this in 50-degree weather. It was cold. So I will say that we are in a cold snap, even if you are from the north. It's just you would think it was cold if it was a different time of year. But it's winter, so it's cold for us still.
It's it's as close to winter as we get for Arizona.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still cold.
It's cold. It's allowed to be cold. Even it's 50 degrees is still cold. It doesn't matter if it's 50 degrees in Buffalo or 50 degrees in Arizona.
Below 50 for me definitely is cold.
Yeah.
So I don't like it. I don't like that kind of weather. That's why I
Yeah.
live in Arizona, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I want to be able to like let's say like there's the joke about Arizona when we go, like where like there's a reason why some hockey fans want to go to when some hockey players want to go to ASU to play in college. That way they can just go to practice or go to a game and leave the rink in shorts and flip flops. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't leave I would be in Oceanside in shorts at any point in my life, but yeah, once you get outside,
oh
very
yeah,
nice out.
once you get outside, yeah, once it's just don't if you're wearing shorts in Oceanside, you're probably some kind of freak.
Yeah.
Um, but like
Oceanside is cold no matter who you are. It is uh
oh, I'm gonna miss that place.
there's still gonna be stuff there. You can still go to Oceanside.
Nah, I'm
Yeah.
I was hearing that they're gonna get rid of it, but
I mean, it's still like, have you heard that they're gonna do it?
I don't know.
Like,
That I mean, I've had some people tell me that.
I mean, it's still gonna be like an ice rink. Like, so
Well,
there's stuff like,
as long as I know all the games,
yeah,
all the hockey stuff is moving to the new arena. But
ASU hockey is not going to be there, but Oceanside is going to stay and exist. You can just go to Oceanside. It's fine. Just go skating. It'll be fun.
no. But with their new with the ASU's new arena, yeah, shorts and flip flops once you leave. Like even then, once you leave, it's because weather's nice most of the year.
It when someone on Twitter said like, "Why would you play for the Coyotes?" Brought up the fact like, A, they're in a rebuild. Why would you play for the Coyotes? Is just a general question to ask for any rebuilding team. But B, the climate is one of the top things, and like the just kind of general like players always talk about they can go to a restaurant and no one's gonna like bother them because it's not the biggest priority in Arizona. And players like that. They like to kind of be low key.
I mean, wasn't there that story where like Patrick Marleau, Austin Matthews, and like uh, who was it? Nylander and Marner were all just went scootering down uh, through Scottsdale.
I mean, I didn't hear that. I do remember the Ottawa Senators a couple years back felt that they were very free to just speak about whatever they wanted in an Arizona Uber car.
Oh yeah, no that yeah.
That's one of those things. As long as you don't mention you're a professional athlete in Arizona, like you're probably not going to get spotted, unless you are, you know, Connor McDavid.
Well, if we're talking Arizona, right?
Yeah.
And I would mention some Arizona athletes. Unless you're like a DeAndre Ayton or like a Kyler Murray, right? You're you're just not gonna get noticed here. It's just it's
I,
because I mean, it's not that they don't care. It's just like people are just kind of worried on doing their own stuff here. Like,
uh, and there's also just like a lot of people in Arizona. Like spring training is here. There's all four major sports and professional soccer. Like there are celebrities and movie stars in Scottsdale. Like it's kind of it requires a high threshold to get people in Arizona like super jazzed for you.
exactly. But anyways, though, we're running out of time on this episode of Locked On Coyotes. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you're yet so you're ready. We're available everywhere you get your podcast, including on YouTube. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOn Coyotes, on Instagram at Locked On Coyotes, on Twitter at LO_Coyotes. I am personally at Robyn_Leano. It's Robyn with the Y_LEANO. Carl Pavlik is Carl Pavlik FFH. Interact with us, ask a question you might have, maybe DM us. We can answer right back or in a future episode of the Lockdown Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hope you guys are staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.